It was just another normal day. As I walked home, the sun was starting to set and cars were moving fast on the road. That's when I saw something that made me stop. A small puppy running between the cars. My heart started beating fast every time a car went by. The puppy was so tiny that many drivers probably couldn't even see it. I knew I had to do something, so I started walking behind it, trying my best not to lose sight of it. The puppy ran and ran, and I kept following. I was worried it might get hurt, but I didn't want to rush and scare it away. After walking for a few minutes, the puppy stopped suddenly. It had found something on the ground, old food that someone had thrown away. Watching the poor little puppy eat bits of trash made me feel so sad. Its ribs were showing through its dirty fur, and I could tell it hadn't eaten good food in a long time. I had my lunch bag with me, and inside were some crackers and half of my sandwich. Very slowly, I took them out. The puppy looked at me with big, scared eyes, but when it smelled the food, its little tail moved a tiny bit. I put the food on the ground and stepped back. The puppy came closer and started eating right away. It was so hungry that the food was gone in seconds. The way it looked up at me after eating made me feel like it was saying, "Thank you." I always carry a clean towel in my bag. It's something my mom taught me to do. Looking at the dirty, shaking puppy, I knew this was my chance to help. Moving very carefully, I took out the towel. The puppy watched me, but didn't run away. Maybe it knew I wasn't going to hurt it, or maybe it was just too tired and hungry to be scared. When I got close enough, I wrapped the towel around its small body. The puppy felt so skinny in my arm, and it was shaking a little, but it didn't try to escape. There was a pet store just down the street. I had been there before to buy treats for my friend's dog. Still holding the puppy wrapped in the towel, I walked into the store. The people who worked there were very nice. They helped me pick out everything the puppy would need. Special food made just for puppies, a soft bed, 2 bowls, one for food and one for water. I wanted to make sure the puppy would be comfortable and have everything it needed. When we got to my home, the first thing I knew I had to do was give the puppy a bath. It was covered in dirt, and I wanted it to feel clean and fresh. I filled my sink with warm water, not too hot and not too cold, just right. I had bought special soap for dogs at the pet store. Very gently, I put the puppy in the water. At first, it seemed scared, but as I softly rubbed its fur with the warm water, it started to relax. The water turned dark with all the dirt coming off, and I had to change it a few times. Under all that dirt, the puppy's fur was actually a pretty light color. After the bath, I wrapped the puppy in a clean, fluffy towel. It stopped shaking and seemed to enjoy being dried off. Once it was dry, I gave it some of the puppy food I had bought. The puppy ate like it had never seen real dog food before. It made me happy to see it eating good food instead of trash from the street. I made a nice sleeping place for the puppy in my living room. I put the soft new bed in a quiet corner and added a small blanket to make it extra cozy. But something funny happened. The puppy didn't want to sleep in its new bed. Instead, it followed me around the house like a tiny shadow. When I sat on the couch, it climbed right up next to me and curled up against my leg. It fell asleep there, making little puppy snoring sounds. The change in the puppy was amazing to see. Just a few hours ago, it had been running scared on the busy road, dirty and hungry. Now it was clean, well-fed, and sleeping peacefully. It seemed to trust me already, like it knew it was finally safe. I kept thinking about how different this night could have been if I hadn't decided to follow that little puppy. I made plans to take it to the vet first thing in the morning. The puppy needed to get checked to make sure it was healthy. Even though it seemed happy now, I knew it must have had a hard life on the streets. The vet would know what else I needed to do to help it get strong and healthy. As I watched the puppy sleeping that night, its little chest going up and down with each breath, I felt so glad I had followed it. Sometimes the smallest decisions we make can change a life forever. This little puppy that was once lost and afraid on the streets was now safe and warm. It had food in its belly, a clean body, and a safe place to sleep. Looking at the sleeping puppy, I thought about all the other animals out there who need help. Every pet deserves to have a good home, enough food, and people who care about them. Finding this puppy taught me that helping animals isn't just good for them. It makes our own lives better too. That scared little puppy from the street was already becoming my new best friend. The way the puppy changed in just one day was like magic. In the morning, it had been running away from everyone, trying to find food on the ground. Now it was sleeping happily, probably having good dreams for the first time in a long while. Its fur was clean and soft, its belly was full, and it had a warm place to sleep. But the biggest change was in its eyes. They weren't scared anymore. Instead, they were full of trust and happiness. That first night together was just the beginning of our story. I knew there would be many happy days ahead for both of us. Sometimes the best things in life come as surprises, like finding a scared puppy on the street and bringing it home. That one small choice to help changed both our lives in the best possible way.